Must watch. If a woman tells you these 9 things, leave her psychology tricks. Men, here's the blunt truth. If you can't hear what her words are telling you, you'll trade your peace, your dignity, and the man you're becoming for a relationship that drains you dry. Today, we're going to decode 9 phrases, subtle psychology tricks that reveal mindset, boundaries, and respect. These aren't slips of the tongue, they're signals. They tell you whether you're leading your life or letting someone else drive it off course. Remember the wisdom of Maya Angelou. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Believe the pattern, not the excuse. When a woman speaks in ways that minimize you, dismiss your time, or keep you guessing, don't debate it, reframe it, or try to win her over, walk. A strong man guards his mind and his standards. He doesn't negotiate them away. If you hear these 9 lines, you don't need drama or explanation. You need distance. Let's get clear, get calm, and get moving. 1. When she says, I don't need you. Men, listen closely, because when a woman looks you in the eye and says, I don't need you, she isn't just making a casual remark, she's handing you a red flag wrapped in barbed wire. At first, it may sound like independence, like strength, like a modern declaration of freedom. But don't be fooled. Beneath the surface, it's a subtle declaration of war against your role in the relationship. Female psychology teaches us that the way a woman frames her words reveals what she truly feels, and when she diminishes your presence, your leadership, and your contribution, she's telling you that you are disposable. Don't argue. Don't beg. Understand that respect is the foundation of love, and once that foundation cracks, the whole house collapses. Psychology tricks may help you understand why she says it, but wisdom tells you what to do next. Leave. A healthy relationship is built on interdependence, 2 people leaning on one another, choosing each other, respecting each other's roles. Love is never about one person declaring, I don't need you, because love thrives on the simple truth. We need each other. When she uses those words, she isn't affirming her strength, she's devaluing yours. Think of it this way. When Julius Caesar was betrayed by Brutus, it wasn't the stab that broke him, it was the realization that loyalty had died long before the blade pierced his skin. In the same way, when a woman tells you she doesn't need you, she's already preparing you for betrayal. Betrayal in love doesn't start with lies or affairs. It starts with the erosion of respect. And without respect, there is no love, only power games. Ask yourself the hard question. If she doesn't need you, why are you still standing there? Is it fear of loneliness? Is it the comfort of routine, even as it robs you of dignity? Marcus Aurelius said, it is not death that a man should fear, but never beginning to live. Staying with a woman who declares you unnecessary is exactly that, never beginning to live, locking yourself in a cage made of her words while you throw away the key. Modern female psychology often confuses strength with arrogance, independence with contempt. A truly strong woman can say, I love you, but I can stand on my own if I must. That is dignity. That is balance. But a woman who sneers, I don't need you, is dismissing your value, undermining your role, and already imagining life without you. And the brutal truth? She probably has one foot out the door already. Don't ignore this. Don't convince yourself it's just a phase. Men who cling to women who tell them they aren't needed transform themselves from partners into beggars. And begging is the fastest way to kill attraction. Remember this: respect is the currency of masculinity. Once it's gone, you cannot buy it back with gifts, effort, or apologies. No amount of how to fall in love guides will repair respect that's already been shattered. So, men, hear me clearly. When those words leave her lips, your response should not be another argument, another plea, or another promise to prove yourself. Your response should be silence and decisive action. Walk away. Not tomorrow. Not when it feels comfortable. Immediately. Because every second you stay after she tells you, I don't need you, you are teaching her that her contempt has no consequences. And a woman who learns that will never respect you again. Female psychology is ruthless about this. Women cannot love a man they do not respect. That is the hard truth. So be the high-value man who protects his dignity, who recognizes when respect has left the room, and who has the strength to walk away with his head high. Because in the end, a man's worth isn't measured by how long he endures disrespect, but by how quickly he chooses freedom over chains. This is not just about relationships, it's about your life. Don't be the emperor mocked in his own kingdom. Don't be the man who trades his crown for crumbs. Be the man who knows his value, who commands respect, and who understands that when a woman declares she doesn't need you, she's already erased you in her heart. That's your cue. That's your signal. That's the truth. And truth, as Epictetus said, doesn't require approval. It requires courage. Courage to leave. Courage to live. Courage to never again beg for love where respect is already dead. 2. When she says, "You deserve better." It sounds noble, doesn't it? Almost poetic. A woman looks you straight in the eye and says, "You deserve better." On the surface, it feels like she's sacrificing herself for your good. Like she's too flawed, too damaged, too unworthy to keep you. But don't be fooled. Don't romanticize this phrase. Don't take it as a badge of honor. That is not selflessness, it's a retreat, and as a high-value man, you must see it for what it really is. When a woman truly loves you, she doesn't step aside. She steps closer. She doesn't say, "Find better." She becomes better. She grows, she adapts, she invests. Real love doesn't push you away under the excuse of you're deserving more. Real love leans in and says, "I want to give you my best." So when she utters, "You deserve better," what she's often telling you is, "I don't want to give you my best, and I don't want to admit it." That is the truth hiding under the velvet wrapping of her words. Think of what Seneca once said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." A man who ignores reality and clings to imagination convinces himself that she's being considerate. He tells himself she's protecting him from heartbreak. But in reality, she's already halfway out the door. She's softening the blow of her exit, preparing her excuse, wrapping it in pity so you'll accept it without a fight. That is not love. That is avoidance. History offers us the same pattern. During the collapse of the Roman Empire, generals would justify retreat by claiming they were saving their men for another battle. But the truth was simpler. They were too weak, too afraid, too beaten down to fight the enemy in front of them. And what happened to Rome? Weakness consumed it. Retreats became habit. And habit became the end. When a woman says, "You deserve better," she is not building a future with you. She is rehearsing her retreat. Weakness never built empires, and weakness will never build your relationship. As a man, you must hold on to your masculine energy. You are not here to negotiate excuses. You are not here to tolerate half-truths. A high-value man doesn't cling to someone who is already checked out emotionally. He doesn't beg for scraps of affection from someone rationing their love like a miser. He doesn't confuse pity for passion. Don't accept her retreat as your destiny. Don't let her words dress up betrayal as compassion. Ask yourself, why would a woman who truly values you ever push you away with such a phrase? Is she really protecting you or protecting herself from accountability? Because when a woman respects your worth, she doesn't step aside. She steps up. She invests. She matches your effort. She mirrors your growth. That is what it means to attract women the right way, not through manipulation or excuses, but through mutual respect and consistent action. And then, here is the deeper danger. If you swallow her words as truth, you rob yourself of clarity. You start second-guessing your own value. You start believing her weakness is your burden. You let your masculine energy drain away because you are stuck in her frame instead of standing in your own. Don't let that happen. Don't let words cloud what actions reveal. Her actions are the real script, not her excuses. So remember this. When she says, "You deserve better," it is not a gift. It is not a blessing. It is not noble. It is a shield she hides behind. And a high-value man never mistakes a shield of weakness for a sword of truth. You must stand tall, recognize the retreat for what it is, and walk away with your dignity intact. Because better isn't something she gives you, it's something you already are. 3. When she says, "I need to find myself." Men, let's cut through the fog. When a woman looks you in the eye and says, "I need to find myself," you must hear it for what it really is, not what you wish it to be. On the surface, it sounds spiritual, almost poetic, a noble quest for meaning. But in reality, it's most often a polite escape hatch, a soft rejection dressed up in self-discovery. Don't fool yourself. If she truly wanted to grow, she could still honor her commitment to you. Growth does not require abandonment. As Seneca, the old Stoic wisdom master, once wrote, "A man who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than is necessary." Don't suffer waiting for someone who already signaled her departure. What she's really saying is, I want freedom without accountability, space without clarity, and the safety net of your loyalty while I test the waters elsewhere. That is not love. That is not respect. That is strategy at your expense. Epictetus taught us, if you want to be free, don't wish for everything to happen as you wish, but wish for things to happen as they do. Accept her words at face value. Don't cling to illusions. She is not climbing a mountain to meditate. She is exploring distractions, new influences, maybe even another man. And here's the brutal truth. If she doesn't know who she is, then where is she leading you? Nowhere. History itself teaches us the opposite. Did Alexander the Great, who conquered nations before he was 30, ever pause mid-battle to declare, I need to find myself? No. Greatness is forged in the doing, not in retreat. A woman who values you will not retreat behind vague excuses. She will grow with you, not away from you. Marcus Aurelius, in his Stoicism when approached to life, said, "A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions." If her ambition is to vanish into uncertainty, then your worth is diminished by chaining yourself to her indecision. The modern world glorifies this phrase, packaging selfishness as self-discovery. But you must see through the disguise. Don't become a placeholder in someone else's confusion. You are a man with one life, one destiny, and wasting it on waiting is the greatest tragedy. The iron mind of a man must refuse to be a safety net. Don't wait. Don't hope. Don't chase. Let her go permanently. Because while she's out finding herself, your duty is to build yourself, your strength, your vision, your empire. The victory lies not in holding on to someone who drifts, but in mastering yourself. Old Stoic wisdom tells us that real freedom is found in discipline and clarity, not in wishful thinking. Ask yourself, do you want to spend your prime years as a standby option for someone who doesn't even know her own direction? Or do you want to rise with masculine certainty, investing your time and energy into building a life so powerful that her absence becomes irrelevant? That is Stoicism win. That is the way of the iron mind. The greatest loss is not her walking away. The greatest loss would be sitting idle, wasting your years waiting for her return. You must rise above that illusion, because in mastering yourself, you will realize that you never lost anything of value. You only shed what was holding you back. So men, hear me clearly. When she says, I need to find myself, you must say to yourself, I must build myself. And then, without hesitation, walk forward into a life of strength, clarity, and unstoppable ambition. That is how you win. That is how you live. That is how you master your fate. If this message hit home, like the video, share it with a brother who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more powerful lessons. And to lock it into your mind, drop this in the comments. I build myself, not wait for excuses. 4. When she says, you're too good for me. Don't be fooled into thinking she's paying you a compliment, because what sounds flattering at first is actually a warning shot, a confession wrapped in soft words, a subtle way of saying she has no intention of rising to your level, and instead of striving to grow, she's choosing to bow out, and that is not love, that is resignation. This phrase is not admiration. It is a polite mask for inadequacy, and when you accept it, you unconsciously accept her exit. Female psychology is clever like that. By flipping the script, she makes you believe you are the problem, when in truth she's admitting she can't meet your discipline, vision, or masculine energy. Psychology tricks often hide behind humility, but the reality is brutal. If she says you're too good, she's already preparing her escape, and likely already has her next step in mind, because few people ever leave without a backup plan. Marcus Aurelius said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts, and if your thoughts are consumed with proving you are not too good, you have already lowered yourself into insecurity, trading strength for desperation. turning self-respect into self-destruction. Be honest with yourself. Why would you ever stay with someone who admits openly that they cannot meet you where you are? That is like an emperor apologizing for being a king in his own empire. It is absurd. Seneca reminded us that it is not that we live a short life, but that we waste much of it. How many men waste years clinging to women who confess their inadequacy from the start? Don't fall into that trap. Remember the story of Socrates and Xantippe, his notoriously difficult wife, whose bitterness constantly collided with his calm philosophy. History teaches that mismatched energies breed resentment, not love. A woman who believes you are too good for her will either resent you for what you are or run from you for what she can never become. Either way, it is not the foundation of a healthy bond. It is an admission of failure before the relationship has even begun. Female psychology is not complicated here. The phrase is an escape hatch, a shield to exit without guilt, a way to leave while keeping her hands clean. But the man who understands psychology tricks sees through the disguise and refuses to waste his time. So you must ask yourself the real question. If she sees you as too good, why aren't you seeing yourself that way? Why aren't you standing tall enough to walk away with dignity before she does? Don't be tricked by false humility. Don't lower yourself to soothe her insecurities, because a woman who truly values you will never say you're too good for her. She will strive to rise to meet you. She will fight to stand beside you, and she will prove through action, not words, that she deserves to share in your strength. Anything less is not love, it's cowardice disguised as modesty. In modern life, too many men mistake this line for sacrifice, for romance, for something noble, but the truth is harsher. It is a confession of defeat. Don't negotiate. Don't explain. Don't beg. When you hear those words, nod, accept the truth she revealed, and walk away with your masculine energy intact. Because the man who knows his worth doesn't argue with someone who admits they can't keep up. He simply leaves and saves his time, his dignity, and his future. That is how to fall in love with life again, by valuing yourself first, by refusing to waste your strength on someone who has already told you she cannot stand beside you. Never forget this. You are not too good for her. She is simply not good enough for you. 5. When she says, I'm not ready for commitment. Let's cut through the illusions. The fifth phrase that should make you leave without hesitation is when she looks you in the eye and says, I'm not ready for commitment. Don't sugarcoat it. Don't romanticize it. And don't fall for the trap of thinking she'll magically change. The truth is simple. No woman is ever not ready. What she really means is this: she's not ready with you. That is the harsh reality most men don't want to face. Because when the right man shows up, the man she respects, admires, and fears losing, suddenly every excuse disappears. Her schedule clears. Her priorities shift. Her fears shrink. And her heart aligns. Commitment is no longer a burden. It becomes her desire. So when she tells you she's not ready, hear the hidden message: you are not the man she wants to commit to. You must accept that truth, no matter how painful, because ignoring it will cost you years you can't afford to waste. The Stoics warned us about self-deception. Epictetus said, it is impossible for a man to begin to learn what he thinks he already knows. Too many men convince themselves that her words are temporary, that with enough patience, love, or effort, she'll eventually come around. But that belief is a lie you tell yourself to avoid the agony of letting go. Ask yourself this: if she's not ready to commit, then what exactly is she ready for? She's ready to enjoy your resources, your attention, your protection, without responsibility. She's ready to keep you close enough to comfort her, but far enough away so she's free to explore other options. And the most dangerous truth of all? She's ready to keep her options open, while you waste your masculine energy clinging to the hope that one day she'll wake up and choose you. Marcus Aurelius once said, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. That's the call to action for every high-value man. If you are already living with honor, vision, and strength, why would you tolerate a woman who hesitates? Why would you invest your prime years into someone who refuses to step into a role by your side? Don't waste time debating her words. Look at her actions. Her actions tell you everything. History is filled with examples of men who destroyed their futures waiting for women who never chose them. They poured money, energy, and years into relationships that ultimately ended with heartbreak when she left for someone else. The tragedy wasn't her leaving. The tragedy was the man refusing to see the truth when it was right in front of him. Don't repeat their mistake. Here's the piercing question you must confront. Do you want to spend your prime years waiting on a woman who openly admits she's not ready? Every day you waste is a day stolen from your mission, your empire, and from attracting a woman who is eager, not hesitant, to stand beside you. Commitment is not about time. It's about clarity. A woman either sees your worth now or she doesn't. And if she doesn't, no amount of waiting will change that. Staying longer will only teach her one thing, that you are weak enough to accept her uncertainty. Seneca said, "While we wait for life, life passes." Men, while you wait for her, your life is passing. Your best years, your masculine energy, your drive to build something greater, slipping away while you hold on to someone who already told you the truth. Don't give her years you'll never get back. Don't sell your dignity for the faint hope that her maybe will turn into yes. When she says, "I'm not ready for commitment," believe her. Don't negotiate. Don't plead. Don't argue. Walk away. Because the woman who truly respects you, the woman who feels your power as a high value man, will never hesitate. She will recognize your worth instantly. She will not gamble with the chance of losing you. And she will move mountains to keep you. That is the standard. That is the line in the sand. Don't lower it. Don't compromise it. Be the man who chooses clarity over confusion, strength over waiting, and reality over fantasy. Because your time, your energy, and your future are far too valuable to waste on a woman who's already told you she isn't ready. 6. When she says, "My ex was better." The moment a woman dares to say the words, "My ex was better," you must treat that sentence like a red alarm. It is not a slip of the tongue. It is not a joke. It is a declaration that respect has left the room, and once respect is gone, love collapses. Respect is the foundation of every relationship, and comparison is the hammer that smashes it to pieces. When you hear those words, understand that you are no longer seen as her equal. You have been placed beneath another man in her mind. And let's be clear, you will never win against a ghost from her past. You cannot compete with memory, imagination, or nostalgia. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." The old Stoic wisdom here reminds you that the rail wound is not the comparison itself, but the truth behind it, that her loyalty is already divided. Ask yourself this: if she said it out loud, how long has she been thinking it silently? The answer should chill you. A woman who compares you to an ex is already living in two worlds, and divided loyalty always leads to ruin. History proves this over and over again. Mark Antony lost not only his empire, but also his dignity because he gave his loyalty to Cleopatra while Rome demanded it too. Divided loyalty destroys empires, and it will destroy your relationship as well. If she still clings to another man while standing beside you, she is not truly with you. She is with her memories. And if you remain, you are not her partner, you are simply her placeholder. This is where many make their greatest mistake. They try harder. They give more. They bend over backwards, exhausting their energy just to prove they are better than her ex. But this is a trap. You're fighting shadows, and you will always lose. Seneca gave us a line that should wake every man with an iron mind. He who is brave is free. Bravery is not fighting a ghost. Bravery is walking away from someone who refuses to honor the present. That is Stoicism win. That is what it means to live above drama and to claim your freedom with dignity. The modern world glamorizes toxic relationships, turning pain into entertainment and disloyalty into a trend. But you must rise above this noise. A woman who loves you will never weaponize her past against you. She will not use the memory of another man as a weapon to belittle you. To her, there is no better, because you are her choice, her standard, her king. Anything less is an insult, not just to your worth, but to the sacred bond of loyalty. And once that bond is broken, the relationship is already finished. So here is the question that matters most. What does it say about you if you stay after hearing those words? It says you are willing to accept less than respect. It says you are willing to live under the shadow of another man's throne. And that is not who you are meant to be. You were not born to beg for respect. You were born to demand it, not with shouting, not with pleading, but with action. The strongest action you can take in this moment is to leave. Leaving is not weakness. Leaving is strength. Leaving is proof that you value yourself enough to protect your time, your heart, and your masculine energy. Remember, old Stoic wisdom teaches us that freedom lies in courage. The courage to let go, the courage to walk away, the courage to protect your dignity even when your emotions want to hold on. Don't tolerate disrespect. Don't excuse betrayal. Don't compete with ghosts. Choose reality. Choose strength. Choose respect. That is how you master your life. That is Stoicism win. That is the path of the iron mind. A real man never competes with ghosts. He walks away with his dignity. And if you agree, drop this in the comments right now. I walk away with dignity. Like this video, hit subscribe for more unshakable wisdom, and remind yourself daily, respect is not begged, it's demanded. 7. When she says, you need to change. Don't confuse this with growth. Growth is essential. Growth is sharpening iron with iron, lifting each other higher, walking side by side as both evolve. But when she says you need to change in a way that attacks your very essence, your values, your masculinity, your vision, that's not growth. That's a demand for surrender. That's her saying, I don't love who you are. I want to redesign you into who I think you should be. And the moment you sacrifice your identity to please her, you stop being a man in her eyes. You become a project. And no woman truly respects a project. She may toy with it, she may mold it, but she will never admire it. Female psychology is clear on this. Respect and attraction are born from strength, not submission. Marcus Aurelius said, be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. That is wisdom. But notice carefully, it does not say, be strict according to the whims of others. The moment you hand over the keys of your character to someone else, you dethrone yourself. You are no longer the king of your kingdom, you are a servant in someone else's castle. The brutal truth is this. If you change into what she demands, she will not respect you more. She will respect you less. Why? Because deep down, women do not follow a man who follows orders. They follow a man who follows principles. That is one of the oldest psychology tricks of attraction. Strength attracts, weakness repels. Look at history. The great Roman general Coriolanus lost everything because he allowed the demands of others to override his own convictions. From hero to exile, he proved the timeless lesson. The man who trades his judgment for the voices around him destroys himself. Today, the same mistake repeats when someone twists himself into shapes to win a woman's approval. Ask yourself, is this truly how to fall in love, or is this how to fall into slavery? Love is not about losing yourself. It's about standing so firmly in your that another person chooses to join you there. Seneca warned, no man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself. When a woman tells you to change in a way that dishonors your core, that is adversity. And how you respond determines whether you prove yourself as a man or lose yourself as a show. The modern world confuses compromise with surrender. Compromise is two people meeting halfway. Surrender is one person abandoning his very essence for the comfort of the other. Which one do you think earns respect? Which one do you think builds attraction? Female psychology shows it clearly. Admiration is given to those who hold their frame, not those who collapse under pressure. If she cannot love you for who you are, then she does not love you. She loves the fantasy of controlling you. And here's the paradox. The more you bend to her demands, the less she desires you. Because desire is fueled by masculine energy, by certainty, by conviction. The man who gives up his essence for approval will never be admired, by her or by himself. If you want to know how to fall in love and keep respect, you must never trade your identity. You must never abandon your values. You must never silence your own vision for the sake of being accepted. So the next time you hear you need to change, pause. Look closely at what she's really asking. If it's about growth, about becoming sharper, stronger, wiser, that's noble. But if it's about killing your identity, burying your masculinity, or silencing your vision, then the only change you need to make is leaving her. Because the one thing that must never be traded is yourself. Psychology tricks, female psychology, how to fall in love, all point to the same unshakable truth. Respect and love cannot exist where someone abandons himself. Be firm, be clear, be true. That is the path of a high value man. 8. When she says, let's take a break. Don't let the softness of those words deceive you. It sounds gentle, like an invitation to breathe, to reflect, to come back stronger. But let's be clear, breaks don't fix brokenness. They don't create clarity. They are rehearsals for goodbye. A woman who truly respects you doesn't ask for distance. She asks for solutions. She doesn't need an intermission. She needs progress. Love isn't a theater performance where she pauses the act while you sit in the dark waiting for the curtains to rise again. If she wants a break, what she really wants is freedom without accountability. That's not love, it's self-interest dressed up as wisdom. A woman invested in you will show up through storms. She will rebuild when the walls crack. She will fight for the bond because she values it. When she asks for space, what she's asking for is permission to test her independence, to see what it feels like to be single again, to keep you in reserve while she samples attention elsewhere. That's not partnership. That's a placeholder arrangement. And you, as a high-value man, must recognize that no empire was ever built by waiting for another's approval. Seneca once said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." What better example of wasted time than sitting idle during a so-called break? You're holding on to a rope she's already dropped. Think of history. Did Alexander the Great ever tell his men, let's stop conquering for 6 months and then come back refreshed? No. He advanced because empires are not carved by hesitation. Likewise, relationships worth keeping are not preserved by pressing pause. They thrive on presence, effort, and mutual commitment. Ask yourself, who gains in this deal? Is it you, pacing in confusion, dissecting every word, and replaying every conversation, wondering if she'll return? Or is it her experiencing the perks of single life without the responsibility of closure? Be brutally honest. Breaks don't provide clarity, they provide cover. They're not about honesty, they're about cowardice. And if you are a man committed to living with masculine energy, you cannot afford to wait on indecision. Marcus Aurelius wrote, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. A good man doesn't accept scraps of respect. A good man doesn't stay benched, waiting for a woman to decide if he is worthy of her time. He decides. He acts. He protects his dignity with unshakable resolve. That's the standard of a high-value man, and that's the energy that will naturally attract women who recognize and honor your worth. Don't beg for a pause in respect. Don't barter your self-worth for her indecision. Respect is either present or it isn't. Love is either consistent or it isn't. If she cannot stand beside you today, she will not stand beside you tomorrow. Remember this. Let's take a break is not a promise of reconnection. It's the prelude to an ending. So, what must you do? Decide now. You must not sit idle. You must not wait for her to come back when she feels like it. You must be decisive. You must protect your future from wasted time. You must preserve your spirit from being drained by uncertainty. If she says, let's take a break, then take the only break that protects your dignity, the permanent break. Walk away, not with bitterness, but with strength. Because every step you take away from hesitation is a step toward freedom. Every refusal to be a placeholder is proof of your value. And every decision to move forward is an affirmation of your power. Remember this truth: a high-value man doesn't chase pauses. He doesn't wait in the shadows. He builds, he leads, he creates, and he allows only those who are ready to stand with him to share in the empire of his life. That is what it means to live with true masculine energy. That is how you attract not just women, but respect, admiration, and legacy. 9. When she says, if you loved me, you would. Stop right there, because that single sentence is one of the most dangerous weapons in female psychology. At first, it sounds harmless, even logical, but don't be deceived. That phrase is not love speaking, it is control wearing a mask. It takes the greatest gift you have, your love, and tries to twist it into your greatest weakness, blind submission. A woman who truly loves you will never use your affection as a bargaining chip. She will never weaponize your emotions to get her way. When you hear those words, what she's really saying is, prove your love by betraying yourself. Today, it may be canceling your plans. Tomorrow, it may be abandoning your mission. Next week, it may be reshaping your values. Little by little, you are no longer yourself. You become her puppet. That is not love. That is bondage. And the man who allows himself to be chained by manipulation loses not only his dignity, but his very soul. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself." Notice carefully, he did not say be strict with yourself according to the whims of others. When you surrender your principles to pass her test of love, you are no longer strict with yourself, you are betraying yourself. Old Stoic wisdom teaches that the true measure of a man is not how much he can bend, but how firmly he can stand. Think of history. The fall of Mark Antony was not only about Cleopatra, it was about Antony letting passion override judgment. He traded Rome's honor for the desires of one woman, and in doing so, he lost both his empire and his dignity. Men today fall the same way, not on the battlefield, but in their own homes, when they give up their values to appease a manipulative demand. The battlefield has changed, but the lesson is eternal. Ask yourself, if her sense of security only exists when you betray your mission, your goals, your iron mind, is that love or is it control? Real love invites. It never coerces. Real partnership says, because we love each other, we will build together. Manipulation says, if you loved me, you would bend until you break. Seneca warned, he who is brave is free. Freedom begins the moment you refuse to let affection be used as leverage. The brave man does not trade his principles for approval. He does not allow his devotion to become a leash. He stands tall. He speaks truth. And the paradox is this: the moment you refuse manipulation, you gain either her respect or her absence. Either way, you win. That is Stoicism win in practice, the iron mind that refuses to bow to emotional blackmail. Modern life is full of distractions and pressures, and many men confuse sacrifice with surrender. Don't. Sacrifice is noble when it's voluntary and rooted in shared vision. Surrender is fatal when it's demanded as proof of love. In a world where social media, culture, and even casual advice try to make men forget their worth, you must cling to old Stoic wisdom. You must become a man whose love is strong, but whose boundaries are stronger. Don't sell your soul for temporary peace. Don't let anyone rewrite your values. If she truly values you, she will respect the strength of your stance. If she doesn't, let her walk. Better to walk alone in freedom than to live enslaved in false love. So the next time you hear, if you loved me, you would, don't fold. Stop. See the trap. Recognize it for what it is, control disguised as care. And answer with clarity, I love you, but I will not betray myself. That single sentence is the dividing line between weakness and strength, between illusion and reality. If she leaves, let her. If she stays knowing you are a man who cannot be manipulated, a man of principle, a man with an iron mind. And that, my friend, is the only kind of man worth being. Thank you for watching, my friends. Let me leave you with this. Every phrase you just heard is not small talk. It's a mirror reflecting how she truly sees you. Don't ever ignore that reflection. Respect is not optional. It is the foundation of love, and without it, there is nothing but chains. If a woman tells you she doesn't need you, if she pushes you away with excuses, if she tries to change who you are or compares you to another man, believe her. She is showing you the truth, and your strength lies not in debating her truth, but in protecting your own dignity. As Marcus Aurelius said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Guard those thoughts. Choose clarity over confusion, self-respect over desperation, and strength over weakness. My advice to you is simple and decisive. Walk away from disrespect, because a man who knows his worth never begs for love. Stay sharp, stay strong, and above all, Protect your respect, or you lose everything.